Hello, and we're continuing to look at some drawing techniques for doing drawing 3D shapes freehand here. And in the first video, I came up with this, I created this A4 exercise sheet here where I was looking at just practicing simple straight line drawing skills. I'm now going to move on. I'm going to get myself a fresh sheet of A4 paper. In fact, you know what? Can I turn this over? I reckon I can turn that over. I think because I've been doing this as faint construction lines and there's no real kind of solid lines then, it's still a nice neat page. I'm going to turn it over, work on the back. Let's try and save some paper. Okay, so I've got to have something to actually draw here. And to do this, I'm going to use Tinkercad. I'm going to create a drawing on Tinkercad and work with that. So here we go. Let's just bring something in here. I'm just going to click on a box, okay? And I'm going to now place that box in the middle of the drawing area, just like that. And you'll notice there's some dimensions I can apply to this. I'm not going to change any of those dimensions. I'm just going to keep it as a simple box, okay? Now, if you want to explore, if we want to play with this, and try things out and move things around and rotate things, that's absolutely fine, but then I would suggest that you delete that and then you just bring in, again, a simple box. I've actually placed mine on the grid there. Right, okay, now let's just have a look at a few of the things that we can do here. If I left click, I can select the box. I can do bounding boxes, that kind of thing. If I right click, I can move the drawing area around in 3D because, of course, Tinkercad is a 3D computer-aided design tool, which you can use to make objects to 3D print. I can also use the wheel mouse here to zoom in and out. If you don't have a wheel mouse, of course, you can use plus and minus. And if I hold down Shift and then right click, then I pan. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of position my view here so that I see the shape correctly. Now, when I say correctly, I mean kind of like, in the center of the page here, not too small, not too big, a nice size. Now, there's a few other things I need to talk about here before we go any further. On the left-hand side here at the bottom, there's an option like an on-off button here, or a switching button that goes between orthographic view and perspective view. Okay, so orthographic means that all these lines here, the vertical lines, are all parallel on the page. And if you were to extend these kind of sloping lines here off the page, everything would be parallel, like train tracks. If I go, that's in orthographic view. If I go here to perspective view, this is what we see in real life, or it simulates what we see in real life. As in, when things get further away, they get smaller. Look out of the window and you'll see if you have a picture of a tree or a building in the distance, you can cover it easily with your hand, although of course in reality that tree and building is way, way bigger than your hand, but that's because it's in the distance, it's further away. Now, just to show what this means, I'm going to go back to this is now my orthographic view. Remember, this button switches to perspective and then switches back to orthographic. In this view here, what I'm going to do is bring in another box, and I'm going to place this box further away. I'm also going to make sure that they are lined up here. Okay, and you'll notice now that they are basically the same size. Now, if I just kind of swing this round to that kind of view there, zoom in, and then shift right click and bring it into that perspective, even though that cube, well, they're both the same size, but the brain, my brain anyway, maybe I've got a weird brain, my brain feels uncomfortable about this. There's something weird going on. Why is that why does it appear to be further away? And yet it's the same size. In fact, if anything, it looks like this cube here actually is at the same distance as this cube, but kind of like off the floor and pushed to the right. It's only when I rotate it a bit further around to here that now my brain says, oh, I see, it's behind, but it's still confused because they're both the same size. So let's just now click on the switch tool that goes to perspective. Now it makes sense. Okay, I can see that those blocks are aligned in perspective. Okay, I could go back to orthographic. I can see that they are aligned with each other. Okay, but here, I can see that they're aligned in perspective. And as it's further away, it's getting smaller. This block here is getting smaller to the one in front. What I should have really done here, of course, is change the color. Then I could have talked about the orange block being further away than the red block. That would have been a good idea, wouldn't it? But anyway, there you go. Okay, so that's orthographic. and perspective view. I'm going to draw for the time being in orthographic view because it's a good start. It's perfectly fine for 3D sketching, but in the long run, as you get better, you want to try and draw in perspective because it really then gives a better representation of how your objects will look in real life. I'm going to get rid of that orange block, the block that was further away there, and just be left with one block. Okay, so I'm going to try and draw this in 3D right now. There's a few other things I'd like to do with this, but I'm just going to try and draw this first. I'm just going to try and put it into a position like, I don't know, something like that. Okay. Now, for this to work, let's have a see. What am I going to do? I'm going to bring my camera up. I'm going to do that and that. And we are looking good. Maybe I'll just pull that back a little bit there. That is nice. Shift right click. There we go. Okay, so there's my cube, and I'm going to try and draw this. So we're going to go back again here to this idea of construction lines. And what I'm going to do on my page is rotate the page around, and let's just try and again do some faint construction lines. Now, already I'm not happy with the fact that I've got a double line there. Don't know whether you can see that very well, but that is like a double line. That's really messy. Don't like that. What I want to try and do here, in fact, let's just come on to this view again here. What I want to do is just do one straight line. That's not a great straight line either, but there you go. Let's just persevere with this. It's orthographic, so I'm going to go across here. Notice I'm not worried here about joining point to point. I'm just trying to make sure that this line and this line here are going to be parallel. Now, I've not got my 3D view up here. I'm just going to kind of work with this for the time being. There, I want these to be parallel. Okay, then. Obviously, you know, hopefully you can see your Tinkercad block at the same time. I'm going to project that down. Project that down. All these lines here want to be parallel. You know, so if I was a mathematician here, I'd be saying, oh, look, you know, they're going to have little lines like that. That means parallel. Okay, and then they're going to have little lines like that. That means they're parallel. And then that's going to be like that. If any mathematicians watching this, I hope I'm right. Oh, yeah. Anyway, that's kind of really messed up my drawing there, hasn't it? It looks like it's got little hairs growing everywhere. Okay. Right, let's have a see. Now, there's something really strange happening here. Where am I going to pull this line back? Because I'm going to have another line parallel to this. But is it going to be there? Or is it going to be there? Or is it going to be there? And I've got these sort of lines appearing at the back. This is getting quite confusing. You know, at this point, I'm thinking, whoa, what on earth is going on? My brain hurts. Okay. Right, so let's just come back to Tinkercad. Let's have a see. I'm going to minimize this. Let's just go full size there. What I'm going to do is click. Let's just bring back a little tool palette there as well. Then you get the whole effect. When I select that shape, I get this little menu coming up here. And what I want to do is make this so it's a hole. Now, that's a wee bit strange. Why does it say hole? It's to do with the way that we can make holes in 3D objects. But I'm doing this because I want to see what is called the wireframe view. Okay, so that's solid. And notice when I click on it as well, I do get these little kind of hidden lines appearing. These dotted lines here indicate the kind of shape of the base of this cube, and this is the center line of the cube. But I actually want to see the external corners that are hidden from view. So if I go to hole and then click off it, right, now I see what's happening in the background. Okay, so let's just bring the camera back. Let's do that. And now I can see that basically this point here is kind of extended beyond this back corner vertical. So on my drawing here, you know, let's just try and get some markings down here. Let me see if I can do some drawing. Can I do some drawing? No, I can't. Oh, that's so annoying. There's a drawing tool here, but it's on the wrong window. Oh, how annoying is that? Anyway, okay, I won't do that. What does that do? Oh, dear me, I'm getting all confused with my tools here. Confusion.com. Okay, well, I'm gonna call that A. You're not gonna remember that. I'm not gonna remember it either. That is like point A there, isn't it? Let's put an A on here. I'm gonna make that nice and bold so it stands out. There you go. Okay. That's point A at the top. And then I'm going to have this point here. Yeah, I'm looking at this point down here. Well, come on, camera, come back. This point here, I'm going to call point B. So this needs to be kind of like extending down from this line. So actually, I want it to be kind of there. And then that's where I'm going to pull this back. And that line want to be kind of parallel. So this here is going to be point B. And it'd be lovely if I could label this, and it's not led to me. That's point B right there. What a dreadful video. I can't do it. That line there is rather thick. I've pressed a little bit too hard there, but hopefully you can see that those lines are parallel. This is going to now extend down. And I've done lots of scratchy lines again. What am I doing? Ay, ay, ay. Don't want scratchy lines. At this point, I am going to have to revert to the eraser. Hey, I found one. That's a miracle. The eraser to the rescue, because I want to make sure you can at least get the right idea. Don't like that scratchy line there. Let's try and keep this neat and simple. So try to avoid erasers, but if you're a bit of a muppet like me and doing daft things, you might have to. Okay, there's a vertical line there that is parallel. Whew, I think we're looking good. So this point down here, that point, in effect, is point C. And that's this point down here. It'd be so lovely if I could label this. It really, really would. And then this is going to come back here, and then this is going to come down here. Okay, and what I've now got, or I've attempted to do here, is create this cube. Now, my lines aren't all quite aligned here. I'm a little bit disappointed. That line there is not quite aligned with that line there. You know? I can see that, you could always get a ruler here. I don't want to use a ruler for drawing, but I could kind of label this, and I can see that's about 14 centimeters, and this is coming out to 14. Dear me. I can't see my ruler. That's about 14.2, and that is about 14. Miraculously, they're the same. Is it my eyesight that's failing me? I am getting a bit old and rusty now. Okay, well, the ruler says it's fine. My brain tells me it's not. Okay, now let's just go back to my box here. Let's make this solid. And now I'm going to do my detail lines. So I know that that's going to be a visible line. That's going to be a visible line, as is this, as is that. Okay, that's going to be this right face. Let's pull this back. Now, when I'm doing these solid lines, I am actually resting my hand on the paper, and I am actually kind of hinging on my palm here. But I find that now I know what I'm drawing. It's not so hard. Again, it's not so hard to do straight lines, should I say. Again, I'm turning the page here to make sure that I've always got the paper or the line being drawn in the right direction. Now, I'm not happy with what's happened there. I felt as if this line was slightly off, that line there. But anyway, okay, and I can still see the construction lines for this back edge here, and of course there would also be a construction line there as well. And if I come back now to my wireframe view, I can see those construction lines. But now I can see how I have created this 3D cube based on my model in Tinkercad. Now then, I'm not going to worry about shading at this point in time. The last thing to say about this is I'm just want to think to myself, is this all in proportion? If I actually have a look at this cube here, this cube actually is a cube. It says here, which is, if I click on it, a length, a width, and a height of 20 units. Now, I believe that's actually 20 millimeters, but basically it is a square. It is not a rectangular cuboid. All of the sides are the same size. And I can see here that actually I've not quite done that. I think that this side here is definitely a rectangle, okay, and this side here is definitely a rectangle, and possibly the top here is a square, but that this is not a cube, okay, because if you take a 3D shape with squares, equal size squares on all 6 faces, of course it is a cube, or also what's known as a 6-sided dice, okay, and this is not. This is slightly distorted. Anyway, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stop the video, but what I propose that you do is just continue to draw. You could do some little sketches. I said I wasn't going to do it, and look, I've started doing it. Dear me. If that's, if you find it hard to do it big, do some little sketches like this and try and make sure that that is a square. Now, I say square, it's a square in 3D, yeah? Try and get everything kind of like in proportion. Now this might be a little bit easier to work with. Look at that. That was super cool. And because I've done it small, it looks super neat. Wow. Okay. Notice that I'm not erasing any of my construction lines. I like that. That is a good 3D cube. This, oh, okay. So practice doing a few little 3D cubes. In the next video, I'm going to try something a little bit trickier. See you then.